Oh, hopefully that's worked. I am having the restream of change. They put new things in, and first of all, I have terrible trouble finding where my desk camera is. But I think I found it now, and hopefully we are there. Yes, you can see me in the corner. So apologies for being a little bit late because I was just trying to find things, and yeah, doesn't work at all. Need to get the chat up now to make sure that I am seeing everything in the chat. That would be good. So yeah, thank goodness I'm here now. So welcome everybody to another Craft Along with Carol live. And today I'm going to make a card which is going to be in my blog tonight as part of the Tech for Stampers blog hop. I'm part of the Tech for Stampers group, which is a group run by the wonderful Louise Sims. If you ever want any help with a website, she is your girl. She's fantastic. She provides so much support to us to get our websites working, and that's why mine hopefully generally works and you're able to see the blogs and everything on there. Don't forget there's loads more on there. There's all the latest offers. There are loads of retired products. I am going to be putting some more on soon when I can get round to it, one of those things. But there are still quite lots of retired products on there, so do have a look. And if you buy from me, if you buy any order over £30 of current items, you can get the equivalent value from my retired products for free. I will tell you all about that if you make an order, but you can just buy them from the shop. So do go along and have a look there. Anyway, Margaret, hello, you've made it. That's lovely. And Suzanne, lovely. Great to see you again here. That's lovely to see people here. It's great to see. As I've said, today I am going to make a thanks card because that is the topic of the blog hop this week, this month. This is a monthly blog hop. Honestly, it feels like it comes around every week. There's so many things. Anyway, let me just get my face out of the way and get my desk in view. Yep, that's not too bad. Oops, no. But I don't want to move it around too much because it'll upset people. I hate seeing that. So hopefully you can see enough. So for my thoughts card, thoughts? That's because I'm reading thoughtful expressions. This doesn't bode well for the rest of today. I'm going to forget words, aren't I? But anyway, yes, the theme is thanks. So for my thanks card, I decided I wanted to use the Thoughtful Expressions stamp set because I've had an idea for how to make a hidden message card, and that's what we're going to make today. You'll see how it all works later. I've no idea if it'll work because I haven't made a prototype, so I'm just fingers crossed it will work okay. But I love the images from this stamp set, and it has some fabulous dies that match it, the Thoughtful Expressions dies, which I am going to use today. So let me just getting on with things because otherwise I'll be here nattering forever. So to make this card, you need a coloured card base, and this is the normal card base, so half a sheet of A4 cut widthways. So you've got 21 centimetres along the top by 14.8 centimetres deep, and it's scored at 10.5. And if you're working with letter-sized A4, you want to cut it 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Okay, so then we need one sheet, this is going to be for the inside, of basic white, or whichever colour you want to use, of course, and that layer is 9.5 by 13.8 centimetres, or 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches for our letter-sized people. So you also need a piece that is around about 10 centimetres by 21. So that's 21 by about 4 inches wide for letter. And so that you can cut 2 of the largest of these frame dies. It's in the pack because I've already used it. I thought too much cutting out in any sort of demonstration is not a good idea. So cut 2 of those. You want 2 of those. You also want some scrap card for your images and also for your sentiment. I probably need another bit for my sentiment. Is that one going to be big enough? I'm going to try it out because I know what. Yes, it is just about. So that's all right. So yeah, let us get on with doing some stamping first. So I've got Berry Burst. I'm using Berry Burst card. I've got Berry Burst. I think actually I might not use Berry Burst for this. I'm going to use Memento. I'm just thinking I might use I haven't got it out anyway. Gosh, there's so much rubbish on this desk. I really need to have a clear up. Anyway, let's just use Memento. Now we're here. So I want to, first of all, stamp my images. And I'm using the big flower stamp from the set. And I'm going to stamp it, but then I'm going to colour over it using my stamping blends. And I've got out here Berry Burst cardstock, so I've got Berry Burst to match. Bubble Bath, which I think goes beautifully with Berry Burst. And for the green, for the leaves, I'm actually using Granny Apple Green. So we stamp this first. There's room for both on here, isn't there? So that's the first stamp thing. Then I also want to stamp this on the inside because I'm going to have this as the pattern on the inside. Now, one of the things that this set doesn't do, it's beautiful, but I really think it's a mistake. We haven't got a thank you sentiment in this, but we have got this lovely one, where in the world would I be without you? And I want that as my hidden message. And my hidden message is going to go on my on one of these sheets. It's going to go on the inside one of these sheets. Now I need to make sure that I'm getting these the same way up. So what I'm going to do is have one of these bigger blobs there. That's going to be my top one. So I'm going to measure that, and you see I'm marking this on the back. I shall rub that out in a bit, but just so that I manage to get it upright so that when I stamp this, it's going to be the right way up, because that's important. I'm going to stamp it in Memento again, because I think there's enough of that coming around the place, to be honest, enough of the Berry Burst. It's a very strong colour. So I want this right in the middle of my hidden message piece. Where in the world would I be without you? I better just clean up some of these stamps as I go as well. They'll go dry and not be very easy to clean. I think Memento is better cleaned off while it is still a little bit damp. It does tend to stain the stamps a little bit if you don't clean them fairly quickly. Is that all the stamping I need? I think it is. Oh, my sentiment. Where have I put that? Oh, underneath there. There we go. So I've had to get the thank you from a completely different set. And this is actually from the... This is going to look really strange because I've got to just move my other camera to find out what it is. Humble Home, that's what it's called. It's from the Humble Home set because I rather like it. It's just a sort of empty letter thank you. So again, I'm going to stamp it in Memento. Right in the centre of here, because I'm then going to use that die to cut it out. There we go. So that's my stamping done. So now we have to do a little bit of fussy cutting. So while I'm fussy cutting, what am I talking about? Really, I'm struggling with my words today. No, I need to do some colouring and then some die cutting. Let's get this right. Dear me. So first of all, I'm going to colour my thank you just in Berry Burst. So I'm filling in the empty letters. And I love that about these. When you get a font that's got a sort of emptiness in it, it's great because you can fill it in with whatever colours you want. I could do it multicoloured. I thought about that and then I thought, no, it's a little bit too much. So we're just going to stick to ordinary. So you have to talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing colouring. I don't know why I left myself so much colouring to do today. But how is everyone getting on? Are you getting on with Christmas cards? I was going to do the Christmas card today, but because of the blog hop being thank you, I found that difficult. Although we will need thank you cards after Christmas. But I think they can be anything, not just Christmas type stuff. So I have got a brilliant Christmas card for you later on in the week, coming out as a video on Friday and on my blog. Hope you'll like it. It's a fun fold card, but really simple fun fold. I suppose this is a fun fold as well. Hidden message card. We'll see. But you'll see the way I'm doing it. You can do it so that you look through to the back panel from the front of the card. I'm not going to do that just because I want to have plenty of places to write things. When I'm sending thank you cards, I like to write things. I like to actually just write messages, because usually what I'm saying thank you for can vary so much. It might be thank you for helping me. It might be thank you for making an order from me. I do a lot of those. It might be just thank you for being a friend. There's so many different ways to say thank you, and the sort of things you might want to say thank you for, that I don't want to necessarily stamp a sentiment in a thank you card, because I might decide I want to do something different. So as you can see here, I'm just doing very, very quick colouring. I'm just colouring in the centre using the berry burst. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do the actual full centre. I might actually, berry burst. Yeah, probably will actually. So we'll have the full centre as berry burst. Be a little bit careful with the very dark colours, because they can cover up some of the detail in the actual stamp, which is not necessarily something you want. That's why I like to mix it with a lighter colour when I'm colouring in. But I do want some sort of berry burst, because I want some sort of background colour to come through in the images as well, because that provides the coordination you need in cards. Right, so that's the first one coloured. Sorry about all this colouring. Hello, Arterai, nice to see you. Hope everything's all right with you as well. Yes. So come on, tell me in the chat, what cards have you been making recently? We had quite fun on Saturday. I made a complete boo-boo on Saturday. I got the timing wrong for World Card Making Day. Really embarrassing. And yeah, but we made up for it. We still did some crafting, which was great. Made up one of the kits. Actually, we made the ornaments kits, the hanging ornaments, and it was really great. They're lovely. I was really pleased with them. And just a little hint, if you are using it, it does say use your glue gun to attach the fir cones and things. I found that glue dots work okay. Now, whether they'll work okay for the whole season or whether I'm going to have to put some back on, I don't yet know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it was useful to find that glue dots were just as effective. So just again, scribbly colouring. There's a lot of detail on these, so I'll colour the middle actually all, because I did it on the other one. So I'll do that again here. So I'm just colouring the centre and then just doing some of the shading, following the sort of lines that fan out from the centre of the petals. There we go. And then I'm going to colour it all in just with the pink. And then hopefully that will do. This is fresh freesia. I was going to use bubble bath. Obviously I've picked out fresh freesia instead. Never mind. I thought it was a bit dark. Never mind, I've started now, so I'll finish in fresh freesia. I think I would probably, if I was doing this again and doing it properly, I would make sure I had bubble bath and not fresh freesia, but fresh freesia does match with berry burst anyway. So hey, that will do. So really quick colouring. This is not about colouring this card at all, but I need to go and cut out this. I've got my dies ready, and I also need to cut out my thank you. So no room. Let me move those things up there out of the way, and then I can bring in my cut and emboss machine. Oh, Margaret said that she loves your videos, Arterai. I have to say, I've not seen that many of them. I'm so busy making my own. I don't get time to look at too many other people's. But yeah, I think I just love the fact that we can share our crafting through it. And I love that people might want to see my things and actually make something similar, which is just great. Because that's what it's all about, I think, crafting. It's about sharing ideas. Just got a little bit of tape here just to hold that still while it goes through. My first bit cut. I'll just put that over there for now, and then I need to cut my thank you. Now, I've decided to have my sort of round bits going upwards, so I need to cut this in the same way around, just because that suits my obsessional nature. So I've made sure I've got it the way round I want. Now I'm going to run it through my machine. Oh, that's because I got them lined up too much. Do you remember my key for using this machine, which is have the plates slightly offset, because then they run through so much easier. Okay. I am actually going to leave you and go over to another machine in a bit, just because, well, I could fetch it over here if I can make myself room, but I might need to clean up a little bit first. A lot of stuff out today. Right, so there are my bits cut. I'm going to lose dies if I don't put them away, so I'm going to put my dies away. It's not a bad habit to get into, which is putting your dies away as you use them, because it's so easy to lose dies, especially the small ones. That's those. I've still got the big ring out. That's because I need to do that. Get rid of that. Get rid of these. So, yeah, it is sweet of you, Margaret. Thank you for saying that. Greetings from a cold and wet South Africa. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Jenny. That's really sad. Although it's pretty cold and wet here, but it is the time of year that we could expect it to be cold and wet here, I suppose. So I'm not quite so bothered about that. But I'm very sad for you, because it's your spring coming into summer. So yeah, you don't expect it to be cold and wet. Although given how our spring was, probably I'm not that surprised. Right. Let me move on. I'm just trying to get stuff out of the way here. So I've got some space. I'm going to bring my machine across, because I'm going to do two things with it. So just give me a second while I fetch my big cut and emboss machine. It's the room. If I move that back, we've just about got room. And I also have the Layered Florals embossing folder. Now, this is because I just want to put something on the front of this card. Don't want it to be completely not boring, because it's not going to be boring, but yeah. So I'm going to put it in now. Obviously, I just need the front of this card done. And I'm going to emboss before I die cut my hole, because embossing afterwards, it can damage the edges of anything you cut. So I'm putting my card in, wrapping the bit I don't need, making sure that you can't see this very well, but making sure that my fold is at the side, properly at the side, and then I can wrap it round the back as I run it through the machine. So making sure I've got my correct sandwich. And always making sure when you're running embossing folders through the machine, especially these 3D ones, you want the fold to be going through first. So this is why I need the big machine. So apologies for having this all the way across the screen. I can't move my camera further away very easily. I'm going to knock into something. Oh, I can just do it. Yes. Work that out. So that has just show you the result of that. That has just embossed the front of my card. So I've got something around it. So now I want to do some cutting. So just get rid of those bits and bring my other plates back in. I think it's just about, I keep saying it's time for a new cutting plate. What I always do, by the way, when I'm buying a pair of cutting plates, I always have one for the top and one for the bottom. And then when the bottom one gets so damaged, like this one is, I can swap them round. So this one will become my new cutting plate, and one of the new ones will go on top of it. But I'm not getting it out just now. We're going to just go with what I've got here. So I'm just going to make sure my card's folded again, because it's just squished a little bit with going through that machine. There we go. And then I'm going to cut an aperture in the card. So I'm going to place it down, making sure that the bit I wanted at the top, let me just get this to make sure that I've got this the right way round. So we want, yeah, that bit at the top. So I'm just placing that. I hope you can see this a little bit. I'm placing that in the middle of the card. So I'm just eyeballing whether this side and this side have the same gap. I'm not sure you can see all of this, but I'll show you when it's, you'll see it when it's cut, to be honest. That's probably the easiest way to show you. I'm just putting a couple of bits of tape on just to hold that down. And then we shall run this through. And run it back again. Now, running it through the machine will squash the embossing a little bit. You'll see that as well. But that doesn't matter. The 3D embossing folders give such a beautiful, deep image. I'll just move this out of the way. Such a beautiful, deep image that you still get left with a lot of embossing. Hopefully you can still see that. So it's not as raised as it was, but that's okay because I've got a lot going on this card. I don't necessarily want it to be as raised as it was when we first did it. Just taking this low-tack tape off very carefully so I'm not damaging my card. And now I've got a nice floral shaped piece of berry burst I might use on some of the cards sometime, but not for today. I'm just going to put this die away before I lose that as well. As I said before, I think it's important to always put your dies away, even if they won't stick in. Anyway, they're all in, so I'll leave them there. So now to put this card together. Obviously, we have my front piece, which I haven't put anything on yet because it's going to go on in a minute. I have my hidden message piece, and I need them to line up, which is important. At this point, I am going to, if I can find my rubber, there we go, rub off the one from the inside. No, that's the outside piece, the inside one. And we can now stick this inside. That is my top. So I can match it up with my pattern here and make sure, yeah, that's fine. And we need just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of glue. So don't be too generous with this, but just run a little line of glue all the way around the edge of the aperture. Because this one we are sticking down. There we go. And making sure it's the right way up and facing through the aperture, we can then place this on top. And you can use your glue to make sure you are all the way around so that on the front side, I'm just going to press it down from the front to make sure it's really well stuck. Our hidden message is now showing through, but obviously it's not hidden yet. While I've got this card open, I'm just going to stick my back bit in. So this is my bit for my messages. As I've said, if you wanted to, you could put a stamp of sentiment on here. But because I think I say thank you for so many reasons, I don't like to have anything written in my sentiment cards, in my thank you cards. I don't have any sentiments in my thank you cards. Let me get this the right way around. I told you I can't do it. Could you cut the shape out first, then emboss it? You could. What I've found is if you did that, Suzanne, what I've found is that you can damage the edge. I wanted to be able to see this dotted edge. Can you see how I've got the dotted edge from the die? Now, if I put it then through the embossing folder, that dotted edge would get lost with the embossing. And I didn't actually want the embossing to be too, what's the word for it? Too obvious. I didn't want it to stick up too much. I just wanted it as a background, but it's principally for the edge of the cutout shape. If you cut that out first, then emboss, where these flowers are overlapping that shape, because I've done the cutout second, my dotted edge is showing clearly against my background. If I'd done it the other way round, then what you see, you would lose some of the dots around the edge. They'd get squished by the embossing folder and the edge wouldn't be quite as clean because it would squash, how can I describe it? Like squash the cardstock into the space. It wouldn't be a disaster and it would certainly work, but you certainly would lose some of the definition of the dots. I hope that makes some sense. Not sure. Anyway, I hope you can see it a bit. I've used the berry burst because I love the colour, but I'm not sure you can see the dots terribly well. But you can see the dots from the edge of the die, and I don't want to lose those. Right, so now we've got the piece to go on the top, which is going to cover it up like that. But obviously it's a hidden message. I want it to actually open. So I need to have a little bit of a crease down this side, or down whichever side. I haven't got anything written, it doesn't matter which side, but I'm actually going to use my, because I've already started bending that, I'm going to do this side. So I'm going to match up the patterns, top and bottom, so that I've got the same pattern. There we go, up top and bottom, and about 1 centimetre. That's all I want in. Could be actually 1.5 centimetres for this one, because that's quite in the middle. You don't want it to impinge on the message that you've put in. Make sure I'm using my scoring tool and not my cutting blade. So that has given me my little hinge, if you like, to allow for that to come up. So now I can stick this over. No, I haven't done that right. Look, well, it doesn't really matter which way it moves, does it? So it's a question of whether I do it that way, perhaps that way actually. Yeah, I just might. So the only bit I want to stick down is obviously this bit, because if I stick any of the rest of it down, guess what, folks? It's not going to reveal the message. So I am going to use a little bit of, oh, thanks for explaining. Yeah, that's fine, Susanna. That's just my view. You can try it yourself on scraps and see what you think. But if you use a die with a perforated edge, you will lose the perforations in the embossing. How do I know? Guess how? Because I've done it. Right, so I'm going to put some tear and tape on here, and then I can stick this on, matching the pattern. So I had aimed to have my sticky bit down the side, but obviously I turned it as I put it there, but that'll do for my hidden message. So there I have my flap, and I'm not putting any sort of lifting thing on, because this is going to stay open so people can lift it up to see the message there. So it just remains for me to stick my thank you on. Do you know what I might do? I might use the next size die up and cut an edge for a berry burst around that. And I'm just thinking, because I was going to put this somewhere, it's going to get bent if it goes there, so I'm going to have that. Now I haven't got room for this where I wanted it. Yeah. Do you know what? I can have a bend here, so I can just bend that flower. Might still stick it on there. Yeah, that'll still do. So I'm going to stick that on with a couple of dimensionals. So just a couple around here. And then you can help me decide, should I that just about fits in there. Didn't manage that very well, but yeah, that'll do. And that still isn't going to get too damaged by lifting that up. That's fine. So the question is, do I just stick my thank you on like that, or, and I think I know what I'm going to do, shall I cut out, because I can use this piece actually, shall I cut out a piece to go behind this thing? I think I should. What do you think? I think it needs a border. I think if we had a little bit of border of the berry burst round the thank you, it's going to just make it stick out even more. I think I'm going to do that. I'm not waiting to see what you think. That's what I'm going to do. So I can use my small machine again, which doesn't get quite as much in the way of the camera as the other one. And I can choose which bit of this embossed pattern I actually use. I want bits around the edge, because you'll see it around the edge, but not in the middle. So if I cut it there, I'm going to get some of the embossed pattern all the way round. Okay, let's try that and then see. put the berry burst behind. Yes, definitely, says Arterai and Suzanne. Quite right. I thought you might agree. So yes, just going to be too bare without it, wasn't it? Let's put those out of the way. There. So I've just used this piece, which is now worthless, and I need to just get rid of that little bit. Put that dye away. My dyes aren't sticking at all. The sticky stuff that the dyes are stuck with when you first get them is so sticky, and then as soon as you get them and pull them off, it doesn't stick anymore. I haven't worked that one out at all, but anyway, never mind. Super sticky. So this, I've cut this piece, so hopefully you can see I've got embossing more or less around the whole edge of it, because that's all I'm going to see when I stick the thank you on top. So I'm going to stick the thank you on top flat and then put it all up on dimensionals on my card. I haven't lost my glue. There we go. Yet another tombow near its end. I do go through a lot of tombow. Right, making sure I'm matching the curves of the pattern up okay and having the same gap all the way around. There we go. Now I'm not going to put it right in the, I could put it right in the middle. I might put it right in the middle. What do you think? Right in the middle or slightly down to one side, given I've got my flowers there? No, I think it's going to look better in the middle. If it's in the middle, I probably need to not put dimensionals because of I don't want it to damage this flower even more and bend this flower even more from there. What do you think? I need help, folks. Shall I stick it in the middle where it would look best, in which case I would have to stick it flat, which isn't a problem. Or if I wanted to stick it with dimensionals, I might have to have it sort of down a little bit to the side. No, I think my OCD says it's got to go in the middle, which means it's got to go flat. Actually, I could have, no, not quite. So I could have lifted the thank you. No, I can't, not quite. My flower would still be a little bit in the way. Middle, everyone says middle. Jolly good. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Suzanne. I'm going with middle. Oh, come on. Don't run out just now when I'm just finishing. This is ridiculous. Oh dear, have I got a new one? No, of course I haven't. Right, I'll have to use some, I could use some stamping seal, to be honest. The only thing with stamping seal is, except my stamping seal is, the lid's jammed on. Not having any fun with my things today. There we go. So I'll just use some stamping seal. That just means I've got to get it exactly right before I press it down, because I haven't got any wiggle room with stamping seal. There, in the middle. Is that straight? I think it's straight. There we go. So that's in the middle. It's got my hidden message and lots of space inside for me to do it right. So I hope you like that card. I haven't done the envelope, but obviously if you are making one, please do decorate your envelopes too. I'm going to do mine in a minute. I'm just going to use, this is why I've left this on here, because I'm going to use this stamp on the envelope and colour it in the same way as that. So I hope you enjoyed that little card. There will be lots more lovely thank you cards. Let me put me back so you can see me. Ooh, where am I? There we go. No, didn't like that, did it? That's better. Yeah, so I hope you like that card. There will be lots more from my fellow Tech for Stampers people out tonight. They all come out at 6 o'clock. So the instructions for this card will not be out until 6 o'clock. But yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going to change slightly the instructions to make it like this. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and yeah, have a go yourself, because they're fun to make. Thanks, Suzanne. That's very kind of you. I will see you again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock for another live. We'll be back into Christmas next week, which is great. Thank you, Margaret.